Sony has finally blown the lid off of its next console. But will the PlayStation 5 be the last console from Sony? There are some industry events that would suggest so. Hi, I'm Ishaq, and today let's pick up the puzzle pieces that are hidden from mainstream attention and put them together to get the answer for this question. You, my friend, are with the IXI Gaming Podcast. So, Sony and Microsoft have officially revealed the specifications for their next consoles to the public. While one console looks slightly more powerful than the other, both machines are a significant upgrade from their current gen cousins. There is no doubt that the ninth generation of console is shaping up to be the most interesting yet, based on the developments so far. But will we ever get to witness something like this again? Will there be another clash between these giant corporations once again in 7 years? Or will this be the last cycle of consoles as we know them? Particularly for Sony. Will the PS5 be the last console from Sony? First things first, why are we discussing the end of PlayStation when a new console is on the horizon? And why is it Sony and not Microsoft that might give up on consoles? Well, the answer to both questions lie within the state of affairs that not many are paying attention to, thanks to two shiny new consoles poised to release at the tail end of the year, taking all the spotlight. Let's have a look. We need to pay attention to one of the fading industry trends at the moment, cloud gaming. As redundant as cloud gaming seems today, thanks to Google's appalling measures to make Stadia a success, cloud gaming is still a very serious and a very competent medium. And by the looks of things, it looks like it's going to be Microsoft and not Google that would champion the cloud gaming platform. Microsoft has, on numerous occasions, emphasized how important Project xCloud is to the company and how a good chunk of its resources are being used to develop the brand. The company's robust cloud infrastructure combined with Project xCloud and services like their excellent Game Pass all point towards a path that isn't what your conventional disc-based gaming platform would be on. So, shouldn't it be Microsoft that might pull the plug on consoles as we know them? Actually not. Xbox main man Phil Spencer has expressed that all of these cloud-based platforms are there for the players as options and that the company wants their products and games to be available in any form the customer wants. So while cloud gaming may offer mobility and ease of access, the company will still make consoles for the players that play at home, he said. So all of this aggressive push towards cloud gaming was Microsoft expanding their horizon and trying to attract as many users as possible. Fair enough. But this does mean something else for other companies, namely Google. Whether intentional or not, Microsoft is paving the way and is looking to set the standards for how cloud gaming needs to be presented to the consumer. And if Google is taking notes from Microsoft, they will be quick to follow suit and save the dying Stadia brand, which frankly, by the looks of things, not many are bothered about. But I do have a reason to believe that, surprisingly enough, Google still cares about Stadia. Here's why. Google clearly has put in a lot of resources and money to develop the Stadia platform. It has hired the right executives that have played critical roles in the success of other gaming companies, ranging from hardware manufacturers to studios that create games. If Google's history is any indication, the company would pull the plug from a service that hasn't picked up after barely paying attention to that service for a long period of time. Stadia may look like one of those services on the offset, thanks to little to no engagement with its user base, a shallow library of games, and a rather dastardly reputation among indie developers. But Google has been making some moves that would suggest that the company is still investing in the product. The company recently hired Shannon Studstill to lead a studio that focuses on Stadia exclusives. She is the former head of Sony Santa Monica and the person that put together the team and led the project for 2018's God of War. This shows that Google is still committed to Stadia, and that might give enough wiggle room for the brand to survive should Google learn from Microsoft if Project xCloud succeeds. So there is a probability that by the year 2022, there could be two giant corporations offering great cloud gaming services. Looking at this point hypothetically, it may look like cloud gaming will get better and the industry will gradually move in that direction. But would it be enough for a company like Sony to not think about the PlayStation 6? What if I told you that there is one other company that will disrupt the industry in many ways and it is coming soon? What if there was a company that offered you cloud for a very low fee and offered a service that was far more reliable than Google or Microsoft? Well, such a company does exist, and it goes by the name of Amazon. The company that makes smart business moves and ventures into various markets will sooner than later venture into gaming. Amazon Gaming has been around for some time now, and the company has been quietly making games, albeit on a smaller scale. But the real game plan for Amazon, according to various industry analysts, is that Amazon will offer cloud gaming at a very affordable price. Unlike other companies that need to seek cloud infrastructure, Amazon could afford to do this thanks to them pioneering in the cloud business. In simple words, Amazon pretty much owns and rents out cloud. So that is issue number one sorted. The company already has hundreds of millions of users and tens of millions of subscribers in the form of Prime members. So issue number two sorted. So we are now looking at a company that has the infrastructure and a user base that can make their venture a huge success. Just imagine Amazon offering gaming service as part of the Prime membership along with music and video. And the only caveat is that you need to buy games digitally from the Amazon storefront, and you can play those games on any device. Who wouldn't want that? All of this sounds too good to be true at this point, which it sort of is, as most of what we spoke just now is just speculation. What isn't speculation is that Amazon is coming. And unlike Google, they know how to sell and are most likely to be a big success. If this happens, the ripple effect may likely cause big companies to rethink their strategies for their following generations. To further give cloud an upper hand, we have home and personal devices that are getting more powerful with each iteration. On the mobile side of things, the average smartphone today has 6 gigabytes of RAM, which is a far cry from the 2 gigabytes that my old then flagship phone had a few years ago. The same can be said about devices like Amazon Echo, Fire Stick or Apple TV. Yes, those devices have their own purposes, but they do stay in your home. And a new beefier iteration of these devices combined with a strong cloud service could potentially bring even the most taxing AAA titles to the player without the need of a console. As I mentioned earlier, Microsoft has already expressed that console gaming will exist as long as there are people that play at home. Plus, they already have a robust cloud infrastructure which is so good that it can be sourced to their rival Sony. So Microsoft will most likely have another Xbox after the Series X, albeit in a cloud format. But what is Sony's game plan? The PlayStation 4 thrived thanks to Sony's awesome line of exclusives, and Sony's strategy for the PS5 is not very different. To me, that is a cause of concern. To be clear, I have immense faith and respect for all of Sony's first-party developers. They make some of the best games out there, exclusives or not. However, from a business point of view, story and narrative-based games are more of a niche market compared to the mainstream moneymakers like Call of Duty or other battle royale games. While this may not be harmful to Sony as these games can be played on their consoles too, in a future where companies like Amazon make it very easy to play Call of Duty on my 10-year-old PC, why would I want a PlayStation 6? Will these exclusive games have enough appeal to justify what might then seem like a huge barrier to entry in the form of a $400 to $500 console? Only time will tell how all of this will unfold. Personally though, as long as they keep making excellent games like The Last of Us, Spider-Man and God of War, I'll keep buying their consoles. But that's just me. All of this sounds like cloud is the future. But there are a couple of things that might act as roadblocks for this version of the future. First off, let's go back to the specs of the two new consoles. Sticking to how the internet allows to interpret this, one console is moving from 6 teraflops to 12 teraflops, and the other from 4.8 teraflops to 10.26 teraflops. Both significant leaps considering that these numbers were from the mid-cycle refresh. If you go back to the original release of the Xbox One and PS4, that gap only widens. And today's cloud infrastructure is struggling to accommodate the games that were running on the original PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. With such a significant leap this generation, the games are going to be that much more complex and taxing. And today's cloud infrastructure and services can in no way pull off streaming next-gen games in their best quality when they arrive. Yes, there is a good chance that things may get better, but the point here is that hardware-based games is not one but various steps ahead in terms of ease of delivery, especially with big games. And this leg up is only going to be stronger with the 10th generation of consoles if it were to happen in 7 to 8 years from now. Those consoles would have a monumental increase in power compared to what we have today. To be fair, we also need to draw comparison from the cloud side of things. Back in the PS3 and 360 era, we had a little product named OnLive, a company that jump-started cloud gaming as a thing in the industry. It was a significant leap in technology back in the day, but the service ultimately failed due to the poorly executed subscription model and, more importantly, absence of significant games like Call of Duty in its library. Fast forward a little over a decade and we now have two companies with the same problems shared among each other. Stadia, with a weak library and a subscription model that lacks many of the promised features, and GeForce Now, which is a great streaming service for the most part, but is losing support from many mainstream publishers, thus having an unappealing library. So the real issue with cloud has never been about delivery of power, as all of the service providers within their timeline have been able to deliver good performance on the games of their time, albeit in ideal conditions. The issue has mostly been with the bureaucracies among partner companies and the payment models, with the underlying issues of bandwidth and data caps as something that is inherent with the platform. What can save cloud platform is a disruptive force like what we speculated with Amazon, which can break these barriers and move the platform forward. When we take all this into account, what will Sony's stance be in, let's say, 2027? Will we be getting news of a PlayStation 6? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. You see, Sony may not be the leader in cloud tech, but they understand the importance of the platform, and hence their push into services like PlayStation Now and Remote Play. While these services are nowhere close to the Microsoft equivalent in terms of value or quality, getting these products on par with the rivals will no doubt be Sony's focus post a successful launch of the PlayStation 5. And I need to stress on a successful launch, because if Sony somehow manages to botch the PlayStation 5 launch, like Microsoft did with the Xbox One, then the PlayStation 5 might as well be the last console. That being said, a messy launch from Sony is highly unlikely, since the brand has a broader appeal and reach compared to its rival. And more importantly, PlayStation is a huge part of what is keeping Sony as a corporation afloat. So there's that. The cloud revolution will most likely happen and will disrupt the industry for better or worse. But Sony is in the video game space as a leader for a reason, and it will no doubt stay that way. The PlayStation 5 is already looking like a powerful and competent machine and still sticking to conventions like disk drive. Based on how things advance, PlayStation 6 might be a completely different beast. One that would break conventions and might take Sony to uncomfortable yet exciting territories. But it will be a beast nonetheless. One that we can no doubt look forward to. So what is your take on this? What do you think of cloud gaming in general? Do you think Amazon will break into the industry soon? If so, do we have the infrastructure to accommodate these services? Let's discuss these and more topics in podcasts to come. Make sure that you check back. Until then, thanks for visiting. This is the IXI Gaming Podcast. See you soon.